The terms of the lease say that as long as Prince Andrew maintains the upkeep of the property and the repairs and the renovations, then he is within the terms of the lease, and therefore it is very difficult to remove him or for him to move out.
Behind the grand walls of Royal Lodge, life for staff working under Andrew and Sarah Ferguson was far from the polished image the public once saw. New accounts from former employees reveal a tense household, marked by strict rules, outbursts, and a demand for absolute control. Now, with Andrew stripped of all titles and honours, and ordered to leave Royal Lodge, these stories have taken on new meaning. They offer a glimpse into the environment that once existed behind the palace gates, and the power dynamic between the former Duke and Duchess of York. Those who worked for Andrew describe him as difficult, short-tempered, and often rude. One former palace maid said that while other members of the royal household were formal but kind, Andrew stood out for his impatience and entitlement. She claimed staff were often terrified to make a mistake, knowing a minor error, whether a curtain drawn too tightly or a breakfast tray set slightly off-centre, could trigger an angry response.
Prince Andrew is being stripped of his prince title. But why now? Buckingham Palace said the king has today initiated a formal process, and his younger brother will now be known as Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor. He gave up his other titles earlier this month, including the Duke of York, after facing questions about his private life.
A former aide described him as volatile, adding, "You could hear him shouting before you saw him." Even his former protection officers reportedly noticed the same behaviour, an arrogance that made him hard to deal with, and a temper that surfaced over the smallest details. In an environment where everyone was expected to follow royal protocol, Andrew had his own set of rules, and they were far stricter than anyone could have imagined. Among the strangest routines described by former palace staff was Andrew's obsession with his teddy bear collection. According to multiple reports, he owned around 72 stuffed toys, all dressed in sailor suits and uniforms. Each morning, staff were required to arrange them on his bed in a precise order, from largest to smallest, before he entered the room. If a single bear was misplaced, staff risked being reprimanded.
Yeah, so Tom Quinn's released this really kind of humorous book in a way, talking about, the lives of the staff at the palaces. What is it really like being, a maid or a butler to a member of the royal family? And unsurprisingly, some of the kind of craziest stuff in there was about the staff who work for the Duke of York.
To make matters worse, new employees reportedly underwent training just to learn how to arrange them correctly. A laminated diagram was kept on a bedside table to show the exact placement of every toy. One former guard who saw the diagram said it resembled a battlefield layout. Every evening, the bears had to be removed and placed around the room in the same pre-approved pattern, including a group stacked carefully inside the unused fireplace. To the outside world, it might sound absurd, but for those working inside the lodge, it was simply part of the daily routine, one that reflected how controlling and particular Andrew could be about his surroundings. Staff recall that Andrew's household felt more like a military base than a home. There were rules for everything: how his clothes were folded, how his breakfast was served, even how his shoes were lined up. He was said to scold staff publicly for minor errors and dismiss anyone who challenged him. One insider said, "He treated people like they were beneath him. You were there to serve, not to speak."
There were some really funny things in there. We've known this before, that he is obsessed with teddy bears. He has 40 teddy bears that have to be assembled and arranged perfectly. Staff are given a chart to arrange Prince Andrew's teddy bears on his bed every day.
Even senior royal aides privately admitted that his temper was well known inside the palace, and that many staff would rather work for anyone else town. At Royal Lodge, the tension was constant. Workers described a heaviness in the air, with everyone watching their words, waiting for his mood to turn. One former member of staff said it best: "You never knew which version of him you were going to get. Polite one minute, shouting the next." While Andrew's behaviour dominated headlines, staff also had opinions about Sarah Ferguson's role behind the scenes. During her early years in the royal fold, she was seen as friendly and energetic, often engaging with staff in a casual and approachable way. But as her marriage unravelled and public scrutiny grew, insiders say her temperament changed.
Well, the king has been keen that he should move for a considerable time. But the problem is, how do you actually persuade him to move? And quite honestly, in the last week, I think it people's views.
One former aide described Sarah as warm but high-strung, adding that her mood could swing depending on the pressure she was under. According to reports, she occasionally clashed with staff over small matters, once allegedly leaving a member of staff in tears after a heated exchange. Palace insiders from that era said that while some found her charming, others found her unpredictable. Unlike Diana, who staff described as gentle and composed, Sarah was considered impulsive, quick to laugh but also quick to snap when stressed. Despite that, others who worked at Royal Lodge more recently have suggested that Sarah often tried to act as a buffer when Andrew's temper flared.
This is why one of the reasons the Queen loved you so much and you were so special to her. What did she mean to you?
Oh, she just, I think I was just myself with her. And I was allowed to be myself with her, which is such a joy.
One former employee told reporters she would sometimes step in to calm him down after a shouting incident, saying she was the only person he seemed to listen to. For years, that unusual bond defined their post-divorce life together. Two ex-spouses still living under the same roof, united by history, habit, and perhaps convenience.
That arrangement, however, is finally coming to an end. Following the removal of all remaining honours and royal privileges, Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor has been ordered to vacate Royal Lodge. Sources close to the Crown Estate say he has agreed to relocate to a private residence on the Sandringham Estate. A smaller, more modest home, but one still under royal control. Sarah Ferguson, however, will not be joining him. She sold her £4 million home earlier this year, reportedly believing she would continue living at Royal Lodge indefinitely. But with Andrew's lease now revoked, she is being forced to make her own arrangements.
I mean, did you take the money? At one stage you had $40,000 cash sitting in front of you. Did you take it?
Absolutely, yes. And it was given to me and I got it in the car and then returned it straight away.
Once the scandal broke?
As soon as I knew it was a scandal, not once it broke, Michael.
According to one insider, she's quietly devastated. Royal Lodge was her safe place, her last link to royal life. For the first time in nearly 2 decades, the former couple will live apart. He will move to Norfolk, far from the Windsor estate, while she searches for a new place to call home. The stories from former staff paint a portrait of a household built on control, one where power, privilege and personal ego overshadowed kindness and respect. For years, both Andrew and Sarah tried to maintain a united front, portraying themselves as the world's happiest divorced couple. But now that illusion has finally collapsed. Andrew is stripped of his status, his home, and the royal image that once protected him. Sarah, meanwhile, faces an uncertain future, one without royal privilege, financial security, or the walls of Royal Lodge to shield her. What remains are the stories left behind, of staff who endured long hours, rigid rules, and unpredictable tempers in a house that has now become a symbol of decline. So what do these revelations really tell us? That behind the grandeur and ceremony, life in the royal household can be anything but royal. Andrew's downfall is no longer just a matter of scandal. It's the inevitable result of arrogance and excess. And Sarah's next move may finally decide whether she reinvents herself outside the palace system or fades quietly into the background.
As for their daughters, Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie, reports suggest they've distanced themselves entirely from the chaos surrounding their parents. According to royal sources, both women have quietly left the UK, seeking refuge abroad with their young families amid the ongoing scandal and media scrutiny. Eugenie is believed to be spending extended time in Portugal, where her husband Jack Brooksbank works in property management for a luxury resort. Beatrice, meanwhile, is understood to be dividing her time between the United States and Europe, away from the glare of the British press. Royal insiders say both sisters are deeply shaken by recent events and feel their parents' downfall has left them with no choice but to step back. For now, it appears the House of York has fractured, each family member retreating in a different direction as the fallout continues to grow. Let me know your thoughts below, and subscribe for more updates on the ongoing unravelling of the former Duke and Duchess of York, and what their departure from Royal Lodge truly means for the future of the Windsor family.